Thanks for becoming a member of the Darker Ones. Here is a continuation about the very young and handsome Vohnte. In 2017, 25-year-old Davohnte Morgan, known as Vohnte from his family and friends, he was wrongfully shot at while sitting on his front porch at home. Vohnte was not in a gang nor a street person. Those bullets were meant for someone else that hit his hand and pelvis and could have killed him. This led to a traumatic experience in his life. Even though Vohnte lived, the physical, emotional, and mental of it still had taken a toll on him. He became depressed. He began to drink alcohol and smoke marijuana to cope with his depression. So he was now affected mentally and emotionally by the shooting, and now physically. He was left walking with a slight limp. His mother and his family members was going to make sure that none of this deterred him. His mother said she had to get to him, to push him, to let him know that at 25 years old, his life was not over and that God still had a plan for him, and that's why he was still here. His brother Anthony said that he did want to stop smoking and drinking, and he started to work out and get his mind and get his body right. He definitely was heading in the right direction. Within the 2 years before he would disappear, he would be dating an older woman by the name Jennifer. According to both their Facebook pages, they became a couple on August 11, 2019. A little over 9 months later, Vohnte would have vanished while with her. So, Vontae's family members described Jennifer in the beginning of their relationship, their May-December relationship, as bubbly, happy, and carefree, and who loved to drink alcohol and recreational habits they would learn. But for Vohnte, who was trying to stop certain vices, for anything, for any reason, this would have been a good one to not enter in this relationship.
Top of the morning to you, body, because I'm borrowing your body from God. And he said, Almighty, Almighty. Chap lips, like, what are those called? Chaps, showing their booties, their butts, bend over, bitches, you're about to get stuck. You stuck like Gorilla Glue, thought you knew through and through. It's about to be.
Yes, that is Jennifer, the older woman, the woman that is closer to Vontae's mother age than him. She seems a little kooky, some may say silly and harmless. I thought at first unique and different until I looked through her pages. Now I see she's just unmedicated. I truly think this woman may have a mental illness that's undiagnosed, or maybe it's been diagnosed, but she copes with it in other ways, like her drug abuse. But she was there and she was dating Vohnte. I know it had to be her idea to go to Mount Shasta, the mythical world of make-believe. Matter of fact, it definitely was her idea, because I did see and hear that she has been there before. She's like one of those new age women. So this new age woman's boyfriend, Vohnte, either hadn't been there at all, or at least wasn't as familiar at the town like she was. The ones that was around during this couple's romance said it was a very toxic one. Jennifer was very jealous and controlling over Vohnte. His drinking continued, more than likely because of her. The relationship just wasn't a good one. So an overnight trip to Mount Shasta was supposed to be a spiritual awakening for one or both of them. It also was said that Vohnte would be starting his directions on becoming a pastor. So after checking into the Cold Creek Inn, the couple had gotten into an argument. Unfortunately, this is the account of Jennifer. Vohnte had woke her up and wanted her to join him outside for a smoke. Though she was pissed, she went outside anyway. Things didn't get any better. They broke up. She stayed outside to watch the sun set or rise. It's inaccurate of the time that Vohnte allegedly walked off. So they had this cooling off thing. And I believe they used this thing a lot, where they would walk off from each other to relieve the tensions and stress. But later on that day, he did not return back to the hotel. However, they did see each other out in the town, and she felt like he was still upset and nothing else was said. Now, there is CCTV footage of Vohnte walking around areas of Mount Shasta. Sometime later, Jennifer says Vohnte never returned back to the inn. She would call the family members, the brother, the grandmother, the mother, and notify them. She kept saying, quote, "He came to be a preacher. It all went bad," end quote. Never saying what exactly went bad, but whatever it was, it just wasn't good, and Vohnte was missing. However, they urged her to go to the police and file a missing persons report, which she did 2 days later, and Sergeant Pretty of the Mount Shasta Police, he's one of 8 officers working there, he did say that Jennifer came in 2 days late. She was, quote, "loopy and all over the place," end quote. And she said she wasn't really acting like a woman that was looking for her boyfriend. A Mount Shasta mailman and a pastor also had run-ins with Vohnte. The mailman said that Vohnte looked a little bit disheveled. He had a broken phone and was trying to find his way back to a Mexican restaurant. And that Mexican restaurant is actually close to the Coal Creek Inn. A Mount Shasta mailman and a pastor also had run-ins with Vohnte. The mailman said that Vohnte looked a little bit disheveled. He had a broken phone and was trying to find his way back to a Mexican restaurant. And that Mexican restaurant is actually close to the Coal Creek Inn. The pastor said that Vohnte wanted to go to a community called Weeds and ask for a ride. Supposedly, the family had seen this CCTV footage of Vohnte and the pastor, supposedly. Vonte's family would arrive to find their missing family member in Mount Shasta. While looking for Vohnte, they were mocked. They had a raw chicken foot thrown at them, and it was told that if Vohnte was found, they would tie him to a tree. And to make matters worse, the town is 83.7% Caucasian, white. The rest of the percentage, which is 5 each, are Islanders and Hispanic, so there is no counts of Black and or African American people at all at Mount Shasta, or at least not in 2020 when Vohnte went missing. But Vohnte was there. If only for a visit that went terribly wrong, he was there. His family even says that he did not like to venture out from his element of San Francisco too much, but he went with Jennifer. During the search for Vohnte, the family says Jennifer mainly talked about herself, giving no information on what happened to Vohnte. She was rude, odd, and was definitely on one drug or more. She actually said she had been high for 12 years and wasn't going to stop that day. Many people had approached the family with sightings of Vohnte, but only one actually was prepared to take them where Vohnte was. It turned out it was a friend from San Francisco, like a real friend that Vohnte would sometimes kick it with. And he did know that Vohnte had went missing. The family had seen sneakers that belonged to Vohnte inside this house, and they went to retrieve them. And the woman in the house, she actually said that Davohnte was dead and offered no other reasonings of why she said it. And I couldn't find any information on had the family given this woman's name to the police officers, but I'm pretty sure that they did. Now, everybody returned back to San Francisco. They finally did not speak to each other. They never spoke to Jennifer again, or vice versa, but they had no more run-ins or wanting to talk to this woman unless this woman was going to say where their child was. Jennifer also began selling clothes that belonged to Vohnte. I mean, that's a telltale sign that she knows he's not here and that she is on something. Most definitely. I looked on Jennifer's page, and really, it just gave me a headache. It just really gave me a headache. It was so much. I understand why the mother did say that Jennifer's crazy and nothing she does or says makes sense, I can actually see that on her posts. The post really gave me a headache. I'm guessing that the fact that she was different and older, and he's a young guy, maybe that's what attracted him to her, something new and different. And of course, it was probably more of a sexual relationship. We know that's how it starts off. But I did see other videos that did speak on how she would pick up the bill. So I guess she was like a sugar mama, if you will. I mean, it was probably something that, was going on in the beginning. And it was probably something that wasn't going to last too long, because they was only into this relationship 9 months later when he would disappear. And again, she really does seem to have a few issues besides just being openly on drugs. She does.
We are blasting the airwaves with a message today. Please look out for my boyfriend, Davohnte Morgan, who's still missing in Mount Shasta. So everybody come together, be on the lookout, and keep your eyes peeled for the greater great. Sending positive vibes your way. Thank you. Gratitude. Once a mazillion, always a mazillion. Because doing good is part of our code.
I seen the post on her page. It's like underlined shade to me. I mean, she still adds him to the nonsense on her page when she knows he's not around. I mean, it's just odd. And like I stated in my other video, if you're innocent, sober up. Express yourself to these police, or at least sober up enough to where you can tell them what happened that night on May 5th, 2020 to Vohnte. The family needs to know if you even cared for this young man just a little bit, you would do this. But I guess staying high and being insane means that nothing happened.
My child to be found.
Terry Barnes is the mother of now 29-year-old Davohnte Morgan. She hasn't spoken to him since May 3rd of 2020.
When I talked to him, he seemed to, he wasn't in the right place.
Barnes said Davohnte was sad about his cousin's death. She was out of town at the time and was not able to be at the funeral. That same day, Barnes said Davohnte left with his girlfriend.
I talked to him, and the girl had drove off. Called him, like had one too many drinks, and she drove off, and he was in Lake Tahoe.
Lake Tahoe is about 200 miles north of San Francisco. Barnes thought it was unusual that he left because Davohnte never leaves their neighborhood. 2 days later, on May 5th, he was reported missing by the Mount Shasta Police Department.
To my understanding, he was in a bad place, and he went up to Mount Shasta for a spiritual healing. When he came back, he was going to be a preacher.
Morgan has no ties to Mount Shasta. According to the National Missing Persons Report, his girlfriend said they had a fight at a hotel the night of May 4th. It said he went on a walk the next morning and never returned. The report said, quote, he had no destination, no cell phone or vehicle with him. Barnes says she was told a different story and believes it's suspicious.
That young woman knows what happened to him. My son was a child of God, funny, loving, beautiful. Everybody loved him. He would not just leave us like that.